What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the AK-12. Now, if you don't want to hear me yap, the loadout codes are going to be in the description, all right? I'll probably have 2 or 3 down there. One's going to be the recommended build, which is a mid-range aggressive, and then there will also be a range build for you guys there. I don't recommend using this gun for range. I think there are better options, but at the end of the day, it's not using about what's best. It's about playing with what you think's fun. The range build will be there, and then the recommended mid-range that I feel like this gun really excels in will also be down there, all right? So thanks for checking the video, and let's just get talking about the AK-12. Okay, so to start off, my favorite build for this gun is going to be this right here. This is kind of like an aggressive mid-range build. As you can see, the ADS time is a little bit slow. The handling in general, 287, pretty slow for a mid-range rifle, okay? I'd like to have my mid-range aggressive builds in like the 250 or less, maybe 260 or less. The reason why this one's a little bit slower is due to the attachments such as the stock, rear grip, muzzle, and underbarrel all kind of attributing towards recoil management. So this gun kind of has an interesting spray, but this loadout code here essentially turns it into a just pull straight down spray, all right? So you can laser this thing pretty easily. Now, this kind of boils down to personal preference. If you try this code and feel like it's too slow, you can adjust some things out, different attachments, and like for example, I could throw on the vertical right here, and this would take my ADS to 241, boom. And our spray pattern's still pretty manageable. So you could swap a few things out, or maybe instead of the Spec Ops stock, you could run the shadow rail and then get, boom, only -2 control. -8 stability is kind of a lot, but then you get +10 handling. So then you can get the handling up to 220, which is insane. And let's actually try this out right now. This is uncalibrated as well. So you can definitely notice it bounces up a bit more, but still pretty good. Right? Like you can still beam with this. So if you try this gun out and feel like it's a little slow, I'd recommend changing some things around. But the way I have it here in the loadout with the bevel and the Spec Ops stock and the RK3 with the PBS silencer, this is meant to be a laser build because I know most people kind of don't like this gun due to its recoil pattern. This is one of those individual things. You could try it out and change it. And as you can see, what's kind of funny, so my range build actually has better handling, 270, 150, 2.6 than my aggressive mid-range build. 287, 168, 2.3. And that's kind of funny because you would assume the mid-range build would have better handling. The reason it doesn't is because we're running this PBS Russian silencer as well as the Spec Ops stock. And the reason for that is because the recoil pattern is almost just a straight pull down vertical. Very easy to counterbalance. And when we test it out here, you can see very, very lasery. And when we go to try to balance it here, pretty tight grouping. If you feel like it's too easy to spray, you can change it for handling. Or if you feel like it's still not easy enough to spray, there's even more you could do to make it spray better. And that would be like throwing on the Scorpio grip, right? The Scorpio grip is a +6, so this thing's pretty insane. And there's other options like that as well. Like you could move these handguards to control or stability even if you wanted to. And some people were telling me I should mess around with calibrating, so I just did the weight limit max to get a little extra firing stability. And then I just messed with the stock a little bit with the weight limit as well to get a little extra control. Okay, so that's all I did, but this is my mid-range build and the build in the clips from the beginning of the video. All right, so this is number 1. And as we can see, here's the barrel for the range, does +5. And then if we really want to max it out, we got to go with the either silent suppressor for a +4 to get it to 38, or my favorite, the whisper, which is a +3, and it helps control and it helps our handling not go down as bad. 367 handling for the whisper versus with the silent, I think it goes 400+. Yikes, that's terrible. So again, better options for range. The range build that I have, I guess I'll talk about that now since it's the range build. I got it to 37 meters, 270 ADS time. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, oh, well, why don't you have the Spec Ops stocks on there? Because that's like well known if you're wanting to just spray. This is one of the best stocks in the game for a spray. The reason being is because it hurts our handling so much. 333 is just, that's not viable for me in my play style. That's too slow. The RK3 grip I have on here instead of something like the Scorpion. The Scorpion does more control, as we can see, but then this puts our ADS at 289. So if we really want to just use a attachments for control and stability, which is important for long range spraying. Puts our handling at 350, and for me, that's just not something I want to play with. That's way too slow. So that's why I run the RK3 to get the handling buff, and then also why I ran the rail, shadow rail stock, because it hurts our stability a bit. It only slightly hurts our control, but it gives us a plus 10 to handling. So this is very important for this build in my opinion. And then of course you could further calibrate this thing. The Whisper tactical suppressor, really good on here. It gives us a little range buff. PBS Russian silencer is incredible as well. The reason why I don't run it, it would really help our recoil pattern at range. As you can see, it makes it basically just a pull straight down pattern. Really easy to manage and balance out when you're spraying. But then it puts our ADS back at 3, sprint to fire 200. And so that's why I'm running the Whisper on there. Everything else pretty much self-explanatory. All the rail systems with the Python for extra handling. I like running the laser on my right side. And then we just went with the O-sight, because this thing, the O-sight and the panoramic are my favorite dots in the game. And then for the underbarrel, went with the bevel just for extra horizontal. If you don't want extra horizontal control, if you want to pull down less, I would recommend running something like this Resonant Ergo. But then as you could see, it emphasizes the horizontal recoil. So you could tweak this thing a little bit. This will be the long range build. It's still fun to use, but not my favorite way to spec out the AK-12, okay? Overall, this gun's really fun to use. I'd probably put it in a, I don't know, like a B tier category, A tier, I'm not sure. What's interesting with the rifles is they're all viable. You know, that's what's funny about this game. The AS Val is a bit questionable. All the other rifles, guys, really, really viable. I mean, there's not one that stands out where it's like, it's by far the dominant meta, like the SMG 45 does with subs. The M4 used to be insane in the closed playtest, by far the best, but now they've rebalanced and the ARs are pretty well balanced. I'm going to be doing a video on the AKS. I want to level it up a bit more, but this thing rips. I'm doing a video on the M16 soon. I want to level it up more. There's a lot of good assault rifles in this game overall, so that's what's cool. Use what you like. Let me know what you think in the comments about the AK-12 and if you want to see a specific gun next. Until then, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.